Today I'm challenging myself to find practical ways to help our kids overcome bullying and support them. Hey mom, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Fortune and I'm a mom who transitioned from working a 9 to 5 to owning a business so that I could spend more time with my kids. And in this video, I'll be sharing practical ways to help our kids overcome bullying and how we can support them. In 2023, research was carried out and 51.9% of Nigerian adolescent students complained that they had experienced at least one type of bullying. And 27.9% of these students said that they were the bullies themselves. Now, the victims said that most of the times they experienced the bullying in the classrooms. This is a topic that a lot of parents should be very concerned with and interested in, so that you know what category your children or your child falls into and how you can help them. So every time we come across the word bullying, a lot of us as parents just think that it is just the physical one, the child being beaten, attacked, and pushed around. But you see, there are different kinds of bullying, and I'm going to enlighten you in this video. I'm going to tell you what kinds of bullying there are and which one your child falls into, so that you know how you can address it. So there's the physical bullying that we all know, the child being pushed around, beaten, attacked, and all that. The one that inflicts hurt, pain on the child physically. That's the one we know. But there's more. There is verbal bullying. This particular kind of bullying, I personally think it's not just among the kids and his mates. I think it happens at home too, with parents and child, teacher and child, adults generally and child. Calling the child names that he doesn't feel comfortable with or she doesn't feel comfortable with. You know the child doesn't like the name, but you keep calling the child that name. That's bullying. Okay? Saying demeaning things to this child because you don't like the child. For some reason, you just feel because you're an adult, you can talk to the child anyhow. That's verbal bullying. When you're offended, you transfer your anger to this child, and then you just say anything you like, hurting the child's feelings. That's verbal bullying. Another kind of bullying is racial bullying. When you are treated differently, you are treated in an unacceptable manner because of your race, okay? You find yourself in a particular place where you're not the same race as these people, but they treat you badly because of that. A lot of kids experience this maybe when they relocate with their family to another country. Taking a black child to a country that is predominantly white, and the child getting to the classroom and being treated differently because it's not white. It happens. It even happens the other way around. When a white child comes to an all-black school and he's treated or she's treated differently because of her race, this is also a type of bullying. Another kind of bullying is social bullying. How this happens is negative stories are spread about a particular person because he or she is not liked. People don't like a child in a school setting now because they don't like this particular child. Anything the child does, they don't like it. They make it a big deal and they start spreading negative talk about this child, making the child look awkward in the midst of other children, embarrassing the child in the midst of other children so that everybody can have the same picture of this child. That is social bullying. Another kind of bullying is cyberbullying, very popular today in our world. Taking to social media to do everything you do physically, but you do it on social media. The only thing that doesn't happen in cyberbullying is the physical one, but every other thing that is done in bullying, when you take it online, that's when it becomes cyberbullying. And in case you don't know, cyberbullying is in Nigeria punishable by law. Okay? Know this and know how to help your child. Another kind of bullying is disability bullying. And I know as a parent, when you come across the word disability, you begin to imagine children who cannot use one part of their body or the other, or children who were born with some form of deformity. Okay, but there's more to disability than just that, and I'll explain to you. Growing up in secondary school and in primary school, there were some children who were not just able to understand what was being taught in class, no matter how simply put it was. Okay, these children were termed olodo. Okay, now that I've said that, I know you already have an idea of what I'm trying to say. So these kids were laughed at, they were mocked, they were treated differently. You know how children can be so mean. So they were all treated differently. Growing up now, I understand that these children just had dyslexia. They were just not able to understand what was being taught, and it was not their fault. But you see, even at that time, there was something I observed about these people, this type of children. They were not able to understand the conventional way that the other kids were able to. But you see, they were very, very, very creative. They found other ways to keep themselves entertained. They found other ways to understand things that they were interested in, and it ended up sharpening their creative sense, and they ended up being really creative children. One of them I know today is a really good painter, and I feel like children should be educated. When you come across people like this, your response should not be to laugh or to point fingers or to mock them. Your response should be kindness and compassion. Okay, as parents, we fail sometimes to teach our children that people who do not look like us because of one deformity or the other are not laughing objects. They are not mocking objects. They are not funny. The only response children should give when they see people like that is love and kindness. Simple. Another thing about disability bullying is parents do not understand their children. So talking about these kids that had dyslexia, as a parent, if you notice that your child is not understanding what is being taught in class, it's not right to just respond with immediate beating, immediate flogging. A lot of parents do this, especially in African homes. Like, your child does not pass exam and the child brings the report card home, and you start treating this child like the child stole something. Sometimes simply because the child does not understand what was being taught. A lot of African parents like to live in denial, and you compare your kids to other children. Because this other child is doing very well academically and your child is not, you begin to compare your child to the other kid. They are different people. Your child might be creative. Help the child go through the one he can go through. Don't force your child. Like, this is going to be very controversial, but I think a child should not be forced. Like, when you see that your child is not understanding, try a different approach. You cannot beat understanding into the child's head. I hope like what I'm saying right now can be taken like for what it is. It's not fair to lash on a child because the child is not doing well academically. This child might be creative. You need to explore the other parts of the child and help the child bloom and flourish and just become the best version of himself or herself. With that being said, I'm just going to jump right into the effect of bullying on a child. You see, I had my script written now, but then I remembered I have two stories to share. Two different children, but the different effect of bullying. One whose bullying was not addressed, and the other whose bullying was addressed, and how they turned up later in future. So I went to an all girls boarding school, and there was this girl who was my junior. I think she was in JS2 while I was in JS3. But you see how our hostel was designed was different dormitories assigned to different classes, but all the dormitories were in one compound. So something could be happening in just two dormitory, and over here we are getting the gist. So this particular girl, she was in JS2, and you know how girls can be, setting standards here and there. So in my school then there was a standard, like if you don't come across as pretty in the eyes of other girls, they start treating you funny, or you're pretty or you're not pretty and you don't have enough things, like you don't have provision, you don't have pretty things, they treat you differently. Some girls were not that pretty, but they had pretty things and they had a lot of provisions. So they'll be treated like, like the other girls. We used to have two categories of girls. They were the high class and they were the low class. There was no middle class. If you're not up there, then you're down there. But you see this particular girl, where they placed her was below the low class, just to give you an idea of what she was going through in boarding school. So you see, this girl was treated differently because of a lot of things. First of all, she did not meet the beauty standards of a lot of girls in school that time. She was not as beautiful. She was okay, but she wasn't, up to their standard. She didn't have a lot of things. I think her family, were not well to do, so she just had the basic things. She didn't have a lot of things. She also wasn't doing very well in class, and I also think that it was because of the effect
of what she was going through in boarding school, she wasn't doing so well. Now, she used to bedwet, in jest, so bedwetting, girls laughed at her. Nobody liked to go around her corner. Nobody liked to use her things. Nobody liked to sit with her to talk because they felt like if they stayed around her corner too long, the smell of urine would get on their clothes and they start smelling too. And there was even one time like they were laughing at her because she did not wash. I think she didn't wash her day wear, so the smell of urine got on her dress and she was just thinking of urine. She was just smelling of urine. It was so bad she got laughed at. This is just to explain to you the extent to which she was really being bullied in school. Fast forward to university days, I met her in uni. I just saw her from a distance. I noticed her and I recognized her immediately. She was still walking with her head down. And she's a really fair person, so I couldn't miss her. She was still walking with her head down. She used to walk like that in boarding school and she did not stop. She was still walking with her head down. She didn't have a lot of friends around her. She was by herself. And immediately I remembered everything she went through in school. Then I think around that same week, I went to see my friend in the hostel. And it happened that she was sharing the same hostel as my friend. She wasn't staying in the room. She would always come in and pick something and go out. Like that. So while we were in the room gisting and just having fun, I sat on her bed. I didn't know it was her bed, but I sat on it. When she came in to pick something and she met me on her bed, oh, this girl flared up. Like, she was so upset. She was so triggered and she started shouting at me, like, asking me what I was doing in her space, what I was doing on her bed, what I was even doing in the room in the first place. She was so offended. And me now, as a girl, my own response was to like, we quarreled. I was talking back. We kept talking back and forth, going back and forth. Me, I was also doing, like, she was giving it to me, I was giving it to her like that. All of a sudden, the next thing she said was, is it because you know me? Is it because you know my past? Is it because you know where I'm coming from? And my heart was like, whoa. I told her, I had to tell her that I don't even know you. Like, I don't know anything about you. Immediately I realized it was because she recognized me too. She recognized me too, and we were all in the same. Not like I used to laugh at her or bully her in school. We were all in the same compound, so she would know we knew our faces. She recognized me too that we were going to the same school, and I know her. Like, I know what she used to go through. I know how she was treated, and I knew how she was taunted in school. So she thought maybe because of that, I still saw her in that same light. And that wasn't even the case. But you see, she had not gotten over what she went through in boarding school. She was still very insecure. Very, very insecure. Like, at that point, I understood the effect of bullying. I understood the effect of mocking people and taunting them. I just had to call it off. Like, I told her I was sorry. I even started apologizing to her because I couldn't even fault her for anything. At this point, I knew it was psychological. I just started apologizing to her. I told her I was sorry for sitting on her bed and I didn't mean so. And I didn't even know it was her bed. She just walked away. Like, she didn't even want to talk to me again. I left it at that. So that's the first person. The second one now is this. There was a senior, okay? Like I said again, we were all in the same compound. So we used to get this gist quite very easily. There was a senior. I think she was in SS3 and we were in SS1. There's this teacher that used to teach us geography. So he used to teach the whole senior class geography. We knew him. He had a problem. He had anger issues. And he did not know when to stop. You see, there was a day this senior's class did something, and he was the one to punish them. He was punishing everybody, and it got to this particular girl's turn, and he did not even know when to stop. And I felt like she had done something to him previously, but we did not know. Like, we were not sure because he took particular interest in her. He kept going at her, like, he kept using the cane on her for so many minutes. Like, it was so bad. Even we were seeing what was happening because they were on the field being punished. So right just right in front of our classrooms, so we could see what was happening. Even we are students, it wasn't even funny again. We started complaining like, and why is it going on and on and on at her? Like, what did she do to him? He kept, oh my God. He used his cane on this girl for so many minutes. We became bothered. When he finally stopped, she left and she found a way to reach her mom. You see, she called her mom, and I think she called her mom in the morning, and in the evening the mom was in school. It was chaotic. She turned up in school that evening. She was not allowed to drive into the compound because it was a visiting day. So she walked in and she stood in the middle of the field and was calling the teacher by his name. The staff room was just above our class, so we were seeing everything, like we were seeing the response from the teachers. She screamed this guy's name. Other teachers came down to talk to her, to calm her down. She said though that she wants to see the man that wanted to buy her daughter. Finally, the guy came down, and this woman did not even wait for him to explain himself. She took off her shoe, and she used the heel of her shoe, and she just gave it bang, 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 bang. Oh, the celebration that happened in my classroom that day. You know how students are now. We were celebrating like in our eyes, in our minds, he deserved it. So we're happy that somebody was finally standing up to him and treating him the way he used to treat us. But you see, after that particular day, he never went to disturb this girl again. Like, he didn't even touch her again. She finished YA, left school, no story from the man. He did not disturb her for one single day. And you see, today, I can bet you, I've not seen her today. I've not seen her since then. But I think I saw her sister doing very well. She's okay. And I can tell that her senior sister too is doing very well. This is why I say parents should be interested. I'm not saying now that you should go violent on anybody who is bullying your child. What I'm saying is this: you should give the appropriate response to any bully. You see, the teacher was bullying the child. The child couldn't have stood up for herself. The child couldn't have fought him back. But you see, his mate came. Sometimes we need to stand up for our children, especially when you know that they cannot stand up for themselves. Now, the first girl, you see, it left her with PTSD. She was traumatized, and she has not still healed. She wasn't able to stand up for herself, and nobody came in to stand up for her. And she internalized that issue. She internalized the hurt and the name calling, the shaming, everything, and she grew up with that. Children who are victims of bullying mostly love to internalize their issue, and it can be psychologically bad for them. That is why I say, as parents, don't take bullying lightly. When you need to speak up for your child, please do that. And also teach your child to speak up for himself or herself, so that when you're not there to defend that child, the child will know how to defend himself. Okay? I don't want to make this video too long. So what I want you guys to do is this: if you've ever been bullied, please let me know in the comment section on how you handled it, so that other people can learn. For me, I would say yes and no, because I was known for being very, very stubborn as a child. And you know, my coconut head used to save me a lot of the time. So if you come to me, like if you came to me that time to try to bully me, I was ready. Like, I was very popular for being stubborn. So people would not normally just come to me to taunt me or bully me, because they knew like I was going to defend myself. But you see, they used to call me a stubborn girl. Like, the name calling, the verbal bullying was there because I was notorious for being naughty and stubborn. But you see, I grew out of it because I did not have the victim mentality, and I had people around me. I had friends around me. No matter how stubborn I was, I had friends around me who used to encourage me a lot of the time, and that helped me. Okay, so let me know your experience with bullies and how you were able to handle it in the comment section, so that other parents can learn and know how to help their children. If you've watched this video to this point, I'd like to let you know that you are the reason why I keep making these videos, because I know that you will watch them and you will like them and you will comment. Thank you so much for staying up to this point and watching my video. I hope you've learned a thing or two. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, so that other parents can also learn from this. Okay, I'll see you in my next video. Until then, bye bye.